Hey guys, Mark here, and today marks the beginning of a new series on my channel that I'm calling Let's Talk Tech, where I do some research and then record myself talking about some latest tech news or something else that I find interesting. I hope you all like this series, and if you do, please leave me a like and subscribe to support what I'm doing here. It would be much appreciated. All that said, let's jump into the topic for today, which is all about why people continue to buy Apple's iPhones. Apple's first smartphone, which was just called the iPhone, was released on the 29th of June in 2007. Many people considered the iPhone to be a game changer, not only for Apple, but for many other cell phone manufacturers as well. Walt Mossberg of the Wall Street Journal said that despite some flaws and feature omissions, the iPhone is, on balance, a beautiful and breakthrough handheld computer. While there were other touchscreen smartphones on the market from competitors such as LG's Prada or Samsung's F700, the iPhone's larger capacitive touchscreen and its internal hardware were both superior. But what about today? If we fast forward 11 years, how does Apple's iPhone stack up against the competition now? As you might have suspected, Apple's competition has long since caught up in terms of hardware specifications and build quality. In fact, in many cases, phones from LG, Samsung, HTC, Sony, etc. have actually outclassed Apple when it comes to things like screen resolution and pixel density, internal storage capacity, processing power, and more. So why does the iPhone continue to be so successful in these current conditions? There's no real easy answer to that question, but here are three main reasons I've managed to come up with after several hours of research. The first reason the iPhone is still successful to this day is because of what people are calling the Apple experience. This goes beyond the iPhone and extends to pretty much all of Apple's products from the iMac to the Apple Watch. Apple is all about perception and making their consumers feel good about their products. When you unbox an Apple product for the first time, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The packaging exudes quality and luxury, so that by the time you finally got your hands on the product itself, you're already impressed and you carry that feeling with you when you're creating your first impressions of it. While the Apple experience certainly does come into play from the moment you unbox the iPhone, it carries through to the operation of the iPhone as well, which leads to the second major reason the iPhone is so incredibly successful. Apple constantly brags about how easy it is to use their phones, and they're not wrong. The iPhone wasn't even my first smartphone. I had started with an Android, but from the moment I started using the iPhone, it was almost as if I had already known how to operate it. iOS is incredibly simplistic, and although it leads to a lot of limitations, it also makes it easy for their users to do exactly what they want, frustration-free. And that's exactly what Apple wants. The thing is, iOS is so easy to use that many people who have gotten used to how their iPhones operate aren't willing to switch to an Android phone simply because they think it'll be too difficult for them to learn how to use it. This leads to a huge increase in brand loyalty. These people won't even entertain the idea of buying a phone that isn't a newer iPhone. And while we're on the topic of branding, few companies do it better than Apple. The iPhone is consistently seen as the cool phone to have. It's the phone that all of your friends have, your coworkers, heck, even your little brother has one. Of course, it's not actually like that. Android phones still have a larger market share than the iPhones, but it sure does seem that way sometimes. Then we come to the third big reason the iPhone is so successful: Apple's ecosystem. The network of products that Apple have created that work in tandem with the iPhone. Whether it's iTunes holding all of your favorite music purchases or iMessage that works across all of Apple's products, they have you covered. Apple knows that the more you become invested in their ecosystem, the more difficult it becomes to make the decision to leave. Again, this leads to more brand loyalty and therefore more people buying more iPhones. These three reasons are not the only reasons why Apple is still on top of the game despite being a little behind on hardware. I could go on all day talking about how Apple has made brilliant partnerships or has created a very effective supply chain network, but honestly I'd probably bore you to death, so I'm going to stop with those three reasons. If you've got some of your own reasons to share, feel free to leave them in a comment below. Also, just a disclaimer, I might sound like a bit of an Apple fanatic after all of that, but despite my high praise for the company, I'm not even an Apple user anymore. I have a Samsung S8 Plus for a phone, a Gear S3 for a smartwatch, a custom-built Windows desktop, and a Windows laptop. That said, though I'm not an Apple user anymore, I still do appreciate the company that Apple is and what they've done to capture such a huge portion of the market share in the smartphone industry. Thanks for sticking with me all this time, and if you like this video, please drop me a like and subscribe to support my channel. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.